The most significant challenges facing legal education today in the face of globalization, to my mind, really have to do with integrating a wide variety of different approaches to the fundamental question of what is law and how ought it to operate in society across dimensions of space and time. And international law poses challenges in this regard as well, because everybody thinks that they know what law is, and then they move into the international realm, and each legal culture produces a different conception of what law should be when expressed internationally. And that seems to me to be the most fundamental challenge when it comes to education. Apart from that is the structural fact that legal education in many countries, the United States not accepted, is structured in large part by the material conditions that give rise to law. That is to say, large law firms and their primarily corporate clients. This is an issue that needs to be resolved, or dealt with at least, in a serious way, because different legal systems approach this question of the relationship between material conditions, the generation of education, and actual material power in very, very different ways. And on its own terms, it poses a very grave challenge, and those challenges are all the more clear when they're expressed in an international dimension. I also think that there's a consistent problem with mutual comprehension. Lawyers, no matter where they are, believe that they can speak to one another because they are lawyers. But in fact, their fundamental commitments, whether those are political, philosophical, or material, often differ quite drastically from system to system. And there's a tendency on some systems' part to think that they know better. That leads to miscommunication, it leads to argument, and occasionally it can actually yield to something worse, as representatives of countries, for example, find that they're fundamentally unable to see eye to eye on some very basic legal questions. I think that's a challenge not just for legal education, but for law itself in a globalized world. I think it's important for legal education to take that into account as well.